Welcome back to the show. You're looking at a random match vinyl wall covering. This is commercial wall covering. And I'm going to talk about why you reverse every other strip. It's very important, and a lot of people miss the reason, and they sort of say, yeah, it's not that important. But if you listen to the instructions in this video, you're going to find out why you're going to make sure on your next random match wall covering that you will make sure that you reverse every other strip of wall covering. Let's see why. Let me explain reversing better than I did earlier. This is sheet number 1, right here. You have the left side and the right side. We're going to call it A or left and B or right. You have to understand before we proceed that the color shading on the left side of this sheet of wallpaper is a little different than here. There's a shading difference. It's slight. You can't see it when you're up close to it. But put sheet number 2 up against here the wrong way, you'll see it. It'll clash here between this sheet and your B side or your right side. So after we cut the wallpaper, represented by this cut line here, we have the continuation of this sheet, number 1. And so now we have number 2. The left side is A or L. The right side is B or R. You have 2 sheets of wallpaper. You're going to put this sheet next to your first sheet. If you want these color variations to disappear, you have to realize that the color variation here is the same here. And the difference on the right side is the same here as it is here. So when you put this next sheet next to your first sheet, what side of this wallpaper do you want here? Well, you simply got to go to this to figure it out. You got to put the B or the R next to this side. Let's go down and see where our B or R is, right? How are you going to get B or R here? How are you going to get that? You're going to flip it upside down. If you don't, you take this and you put it up here, you have your B or your right side here, and your A or your left side here. And then the color on your second sheet is going to clash with your right side, because this color belongs near this side. Because look where we took it from. We took it from our A side. So our second sheet gets flipped. And so the right side of your first sheet and the left side of your second sheet that gets reversed are color matched, right? Once again, you're flipping the second sheet. So B and R is going to be over here. A and L is going to be over here. And that's where you want it. You want your 2 edges of your adjoining sheets to come from the same length. You understand? And so every other sheet, you can call this odd or even. Odd. You can call this odd or number 1. Your even sheets or your every other sheet is going to be reversed. So your odd sheets will go up one way, and on the back I suggest you do this. Odd or even. So that you know that every even sheet gets flipped, so that the shading is the same on the edges that are up against each other. Once again, We have a sheet of wallpaper. We cut it. Our color shading remains the same even though we cut it. But it's going to be real bad if we put it up against here butt to butt. In order to get this color matching with this side, we have to think about sheet number 3. So that sheet number 2 and sheet number 3 have the same color match. If I put this left side up against the right side of my first sheet, I'm going to be combining different shading. So just reverse it so that your right side of your top sheet and the right side of your second sheet are at the same seam every time you lay your next sheet down. So let's go back to our sheet of wall covering. We have the left side of our first sheet and the right side. In the diagram, I made this A and I made this B. At the bottom of the sheet is A and B, right? If you hang the next sheet the way you hung this one, you're going to have A here and B over here. But B over here needs to match up with the B here. And the A here is going to clash with the B here. It's got to match up with the A over here. So on sheet number 3, the A over here will match up with the right counterpart of your second sheet. All you got to do is reverse the second sheet and B will be together. Likewise, A on your second sheet will be joined with A on your third sheet. And there you have it. Any questions? Leave it in the comments section below.